What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Trout Wrangler Podcast. I'm your host, Ryan Garrity. This is the vibe curator, Mr. Maverick. You got anything to say for the podcast today, fella? Man of many words. But we got a very special guest on the show today. Is this what you were looking for, pal? Oh, that guy gets a treat. We got a very special guest on the show. Not just him. He is a very special guest, but we have a artist that hails from the state of Florida. Does some really cool art on some really cool products. That might have just given it away, but before we get into the interview, I want to thank all the companies that make this possible. Free Fly Apparel, Bahio Sunglasses, Afueta Coffee, Temple Fork Outfitters, Loon, Riversmith Outfitters, and all of those. And also, if you would like to save 10% on your Riversmith Outfitters order, use that code Wrangler10 at checkout, and you will save 10%. Riversmith, they make really cool products. The Convoy Series bags, the River Quivers, their hats, their shirts, everything they make is really cool. So check out, use use Wrangler 10, WRANGLER 10 at checkout. What you looking at back there, fella? What you looking at that back there, big guy? Use Wrangler 10 at checkout to save 10%. And now for Mr. Not telling you, because it's pretty good episode. Gonna leave it a surprise. Should we leave it a surprise, or should we let him know? Should we let him know? Do we let him know? Or do we leave it a surprise? Do we let him know or leave it a surprise? It's up to you. You're the call. You're the main call. Do we leave it a surprise or do we tell him? Mr. Travis Luther coming up next. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Trout Wrangler Podcast. Like I said in the intro, we have a special guest from the state of Florida. And I'll kick it over to you to let you introduce yourself, Travis.
I'm Travis Luther. I am a full-time fishing artist and fly shop owner here in the St. Augustine area. I'm a little south of St. Augustine, but everyone knows what that is, so that's where I refer to. Been doing art forever, man. Just, kind of sputted into something special, and as soon as I found out I could merge fishing and art together, it kind of grew itself from there.
Heck yeah, dude. So let's talk fishing for a little bit. Where and when did your fishing journey start? Have you always been local to Florida?
Oh God, I wish I had the photo with me. I grew up at the west end of Flagler County. It's an area called Pearson.
Okay.
Very, very little known area, big ferneries, kind of middle of nowhere, and grew up on Lake Diston. My first few years of life, up until I was about kindergarten age. We lived out in the middle of nowhere in a trailer in the cow pasture, and my dad worked construction at the time. So the thing back then, and as a father in the late 80s, my dad would get up, have to be to work at 7 a.m., and he'd get up, 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning, and hop out on the lake and see if he could get bass and speck and bluegill and stuff like that. And so I kind of grew up doing that. And then on the weekends, the lake was right across the street from the house. So I'd always be out on the lake with my dad, and I've got photos of me as a kid, just kind of sitting there in the boat, life jacket on, dorky looking, not much has changed, but that was kind of my early beginnings. My dad fished a lot to provide, and it wasn't 100% that he had to, but he worked a construction job in the 80s. I think he was getting $3.50, $4 an hour, And like
Yeah,
back then, that was okay money. Like you could live off of it, but you know, being able to go out and get fish and stuff like that is kind of how I grew up around it. So I did a lot of speck fishing, a lot of largemouth, bluegill, crappie, you know, all that stuff, and that's kind of where the bud began.
I got you. Yeah, that
So
spec fishing in Florida is a huge thing.
yeah, especially the like Dead Lake area, because Dead Lake connects through Dunn's Creek to the St. John's, and then all of that connects relatively through like Haw Creek and all that to feed
Yeah.
all these different lakes. So we were on Lake Diston, and it's like a really small, little known lake, but it is probably one of the prettiest places you could ever put a boat in and go. There's one dirt ramp on the whole damn lake. It's basically private, but you can access it. And if you've ever seen like those really, really intriguing photos of cypress trees in the middle of a lake, like
Oh yeah.
that's what it is, man. It's like huge cypress knees, and it's like the bass fishing there was good when I was a kid. And then I guess as years gone on, I mean, it's kind of a cut off lake, so I don't know how well it is now, but I still go out there once in a while just for scenery.
Yeah. It's like that was a huge thing on the Harris chain too, kind of around like where I lived. You'd be out there and you'd have a bazillion people in like John boats out in the middle of those pads spec fishing. And
Got the spider rigs going.
oh yeah, dude, it's pretty cool to see though. Like, and it's nuts. It's nuts how many rods people got going on those boats.
Yeah. I remember as a kid one of the times I went with my dad, and I mean I'm sure there were a million, but this one just lights me up, and it was like, you know, just being on the boat with him and then just plugging through the lily pads, and I had this little cane pole, and it was just one of those days where it was like lights out fishing. And as a
Yeah.
kid, like that just burned into your memory, and it was like speck after speck after speck, and it was like, you know, crickets on a hook with a cane pole, and it was just one of those moments, man. It'll never die.
Oh yeah. Dude, it's people gotta get. I think down. People gotta get back to that, dude. Like freshwater. That freshwater fishing is getting so like technology heavy now. It's not even funny.
Yeah.
It's like, listen, like we were out here with a cane pole or like a Zebco 33 and some worms when we were a kid, and now you got 6 screens up on the front of your boat to catch a green fish about that dang big. Sometimes bigger,
I think
obviously, but
I
like,
think that's the good thing about fly fishing is most of the time when you're out either saltwater or freshwater fly fishing in Florida, it's more or less about sight fishing and not like you're not fishing deep waters. So
right,
you know, I haven't really been introduced in any of the, like the scoping or anything like that. I know nothing about it. You know, I kind
yeah,
of like I don't know. I wiggled in between all that at one point. So
yeah. I I kind of got out of bass fishing. I bass fished all through college, high school, um, all that stuff. I went to the high school national championship and stuff. I got out of it like right before the big rise of the scoping and stuff like that. And I was like, you know what? I think that was a perfect time to get out of it because there's such like a big fight and like is like do we need it? Do we not need it? Kind of like argument
and
going
it's
on between the people that like want it and don't want it. I'm like, dude, just shut the fuck up and fish, you know? Pardon my
it
French.
creates a new level of competition because like I remember when I was a kid, like bass fishing as a competition was like man against man, skill against skill. You
Yeah.
know, what are you using, how are you using it, type of thing. And I remember even growing up with my dad bass fishing, and not even I don't think my dad ever did any tournaments or anything, but it was more or less, you know, you kind of learned when the shad ran. You kind of learned when the frogs hatched. You kind of learned when the cicadas hatched, and then you kind of bounced your skills off of that. And it was a learning
Yeah.
curve, you know. And I missed that. But then it's like it's the same thing in the art world. Like there's this new level of everything just keeps rising to a new technology or a new level
Yeah.
or a new way to do it, and it's like it creates a new level of competition, a new level of skills, you know. And it's
Oh yeah.
I think there's a certain amount of skill involved with that that still needs to be acknowledged, even though we're all like that's taboo, it's video game stuff, you know. So there's
Yeah.
it's a double-edged sword.
Oh yeah, there's definitely like I know guys on like I know a couple dudes that I fished against on the Elite Series that I've like watched and I've seen it like firsthand. I'm like, there's definitely a skill to that, you know,
Yeah,
and it's like it's crazy. It is crazy, and people are starting to like lose their mind over it, and like the whole Bassmaster Classic thing with Easton Fothergill getting called like horrible names. I'm just like, you know what? Just let them win. Be happy
I
for
think I think that's, and I've trying to think here. I don't think I've ever fished a fishing tournament, right? I'm
them.
not
Yeah.
a big fan of the tournament series. I've always, even growing up as a kid, I've never been directly competitive or wanted to
Yeah.
compete with anybody, anything. So I don't see like fishing as competition. I don't want to pit myself against anybody. I've always just wanted to do better than me and beat my own records and my own skills.
Yeah.
Same thing with art. I grew up, I did a lot of skateboarding. I was never into like competitive team sports to where it's like you have to win or
Yeah.
lose. I've always just done my own thing and tried to just up me. I don't know.
Yeah.
I've you know,
I kind of
so
do like, I got that way after college where I'm just like, you know what? Like, I just want to go out
yeah,
and fish.
yeah,
But speaking of art, man, let's talk about art for a second, man. Like
yeah.
I told you earlier, man, your art is awesome. Dude, like some of the stuff that you've painted on those Yeti bags and stuff like that, dude, is so cool.
I appreciate it.
No
Yeah, it's
problem, man.
definitely been, it's been a heck of a journey. I've done a lot of different things, and I think I'm going to continue to do a lot of different things.
Yeah.
As far as artwork goes, um, I never kind of stick to the same thing. Like subject matter, I kind of stick to the same thing: fish, birds, Florida themed. You know, sometimes I branch out and do a little different stuff. But as far as surfaces go and canvases, I've always had this drive, like this tinkering of like, can I paint on this or can I use this and make like I get so bored taking a canvas, painting on a canvas, and then being done, and it like I want that to change. Like I want to push the boundaries of what you can paint on or how I layer canvas work or things like that. So like my 3D body of work is where I really like want to push heavy into.
Uh-huh. Dude, like I saw the 3D art you were doing this week. Dude,
Yeah.
that was pretty cool. Super super
I
cool.
so I started the 3D pieces back in 2015, and I'll kind of give you a little synopsis on those. I when I was doing my 2D work, so what kind of got me into being a full-time artist was my portrait work, and I was, you know, I had a body of work where I was painting people holding their fish and doing portraits and stuff like that. But in order to do that, I would build all my own panels that I painted on. I wouldn't go out and buy a canvas. I'd buy wood. I'd cut it down to the size. I'd cradle it in with like 1x2s, and I'd create these solid pieces and then frame them in. And I always kept thinking like if I flipped this over, it would create like an inside thing. And that's where the 3D painting started. So I started cutting these out by hand, and probably the first 15 pieces in this body of work were all hand cut with a jigsaw. And it was like a lot of trial and error, a lot of like breaking stuff and like figuring it out. But the first two pieces I did were like a jellyfish in this kind of shadow box and a tarpon head. And they both, like the jellyfish looked really cool. The tarpon looked some kind of stupid. And from 2015 forward, I kind of put it down. Like the idea was there, the spark was there, and I didn't fire it up again until like quite a few years later, when I started figuring out I need to do this in a much larger scale in order for it to look appropriate.
I gotcha.
So,
Dude, so like most of your designs that you do now, are they like customer requested, or do you find the product the customer wants and either just like paint a hunting or fishing scene and then just like let your imagination run free?
um, ooh, that was big lightning. All right, we're good. So, a lot of my work right now is commissioned work. I've
Okay.
kind of narrowed it down to where the good thing as an artist is if you get to a point where you're busy enough, you can really pick what you want to do. You know.
Yeah.
So I've gotten to the point where I'm busy enough to where I can say yes or no to what I want to do and what I don't want to do. So as of right now, the line's good on work, so I choose to stick to fish and birds. And then if it's something really really cool, if it's a hunt thing or something like that, I'm definitely interested in kind of picking up the ball and venturing into that. So like
Yeah.
from doing the Yeti bags, I've actually picked up a lot of duck work. I've done a couple hunt scenes. I've got a black bear coming up I'm about to do. I've got some deer stuff. So I'm slowly venturing into that. I've always just shied away from doing hunt work because I've never personally been introduced to the hunt world. My dad hunted a lot when I was a kid, but I was too young to kind of get involved. And then by the time he passed, and like I wasn't really introduced enough into it to be in the hunting world or know enough. So I always felt like painting that stuff wasn't a direct reflection of my personality. So I always felt like, if I'm painting this stuff, I'm kind of being a poser. But when it comes to like clients saying, "Hey, listen, this is what I want. I don't care if you hunt or not," then you kind of roll with it.
Yeah.
So,
dude, the wood duck one you did was sweet. That wood duck looks so good.
Is that the Oh my gosh! Recently, was it the duffel bag?
Yes, dude, that was unbelievable.
I like doing those. Those are a blast, and they're kind of tricky to navigate.
Yeah, dude, that wood duck looked awesome. But dude, like from my experience hunting down there, it's like I came from hunting up here, and when I moved down there for the 2 years I was down there, I was like, you know what? I really want to get into hunting down here. Oh, dude, it was a grind. A grind.
Yeah.
Dude, like sweating bullets by the time you get up into the tree. Dude, like it's a battle. It's a battle, and it's just one of those crazy things. I didn't even see a deer the entire time I was living there, other than in my backyard.
Yeah, it's different down here, man. The humidity is no joke.
Oh yeah, and it's like hunting off of the swamps and stuff like that, dude. It just gets worse, worse and worse and worse. But just so like, have you done any work that like isn't outdoor related, like maybe kind of like a sports or music themed piece of work?
I'm trying to think. Not that far out. Like I'll do sea turtles once in a while. That's kind of like kicking out. I've done like a truck painting once. I had a client that had gotten some portrait work from me, like people holding fish, and she's like, "Hey, I have this photo from when, my family member was alive, and it's this old truck. We all grew up in it. We used to throw the John boat in the back." So I ended up painting that whole scene. And it was really cool.
Awesome.
It was totally out of the box for me, and it came out really cool. And I always look back at that, and then I'm like, all right, cool. I did it. Like, I'm staying back in my realm. So, but as far as like sports and music, I really haven't ventured too much into that just because I don't know, it's not my flavor, I really, really enjoy, doing the fish, doing the birds, doing, now the hunt related stuff, and when I say birds, like I just got introduced into like painting ducks and stuff like that. So that's new to me, and that's nice. It's like, I don't put birds and ducks in the same category really, even though they are, but like ducks just seem more of the hunting category for me and not as so much as as like your wading birds and stuff like that. They're two different categories. So
it's like you're not gonna go and paint a finch on a Yeti cooler.
Yeah, that'd be kind of weird.
Yeah, right. But dude, like I've seen you paint like the Louis pocketbooks and stuff like that, the Dooney Burke one. Dude, like have you picked up like any other crazy stuff like that?
The Louis were kind of crazy. That was the first one I got asked to do was like flying fish going around, and she's gonna using it as a diaper bag. Oh, and it's someone I've talked to online for years, so it was kind of comfortable entering into it. And she's like, "Hey, listen, this is an old bag I have. Yeah, yes, it's expensive, but like I want you to try to do this." So that kind of like broke the ice for me. And then she asked me to do a second one. I did that, and then like 3 or 4 more people asked, and then people started shipping me new purses. And that's where I kind of got nervous because they'd order like directly from Louis to me. So you'd see like in the video, I'd get like a brand new box and a brand new bag. And that's where like the pressure set in. And like, cause like some of these purses they're sending me are like, 4 grand, and you're like, before I touch it, and I'm like, all right, here we go. If I ruin this, like, I've got a new purse, like.
Yeah. It's
Dude,
like,
you
dude, you
bet. You bet
know.
if I messed up a purse, I'd be carrying it though. I'd be walking around
Oh
town
yeah.
with that thing so fast.
Dude, it's like, see, I feel like if you're buying a Louis purse though, like $4,000, it's like if you mess it up, that they probably have the money just to be like, all right, hey, I'll send you another one.
Yeah. No,
But
I have one lady. I've done a couple items for her, and the first time we talked and went back and forth, she's like, "Oh, I have a collection of purses," and I was like, "That's really cool. It was nice to know." She's like, "Yeah, I have over 2,500," and I was like, "Damn." Yeah,
2,500 purses.
yeah. So I
That
was like, "All right, that's cool. It's nice. That was really nice."
that's
So that
wild.
took a little bit of the pressure off, but not all of it.
Yeah, that's nuts. 2,500 purses. It's like, you know what? It's like a baseball lineup, man. It's like, you know what? She's probably got like 5 or 6 more that are on deck.
Yeah. But
But
that was really cool. It was an awesome little project to do, and it was cool to kind of communicate and go through the process, and then like seeing the bag, finish it up, and get it out. So that
yeah,
was
that's
fun.
really cool though.
I like doing those. It's got to be the right person. Like if anybody messages me and they're like, "I want to get a purse done," like I have to feel people out first because if out of the gate you get like an off feeling, you're like, I already know this is going to go down the drain somehow, some way, and it's going to be kickback. So like, you really have to feel out the client for something like that
Yeah,
first, and build the relationship before you can go. Yeah, I'll take on a $4,000 purse and I'll paint on it.
yeah.
So
You ever thought about like painting? You know how like Louis sends you that super crazy like box that is like magnetic, opens it up. You ever
yeah.
thought about doing a painting on one of those too? So like the whole thing is just a scene with like a
So
flying fish or grayling on it or something like that.
if you double back and look, a couple. So the flying fish one, the pintail duck was probably my favorite purse that I did. That one
Oh,
came
dude,
out
that would be
so
sweet.
classy. She just
Yeah,
let me run with it. She's like, I want a pintail duck, you do what you do, and I was like, it's gonna look super classy if I have the duck sitting on the water, like, and just chill. And it came out so well, but that was one of the ones where it's like, I always threw in a little surprise. Like they're already paying me a premium to paint on the purse, so I always either pull the clutch out of it, paint the clutch too as a surprise, and I don't show it to them until I ship the item back.
yeah.
And then with the pintail purse and sailfish and the flying fish, all three of those I actually painted the box as well.
Oh, that's
So,
cool.
and it was
That's
all
really
little
cool.
bonuses that I did for them. So it was really
That's
cool.
pretty sweet though. Like that's one of those things that it's like that. It's so cool how Louis does that, where they send the box with it and stuff. And it's like
Yeah.
that's why I was thinking. I was like, that could be a whole nother thing in itself. Like the storage boxes and stuff, man. It's like that's pretty sweet
So
how you do that.
I painted live for the Fort Lauderdale boat show.
Oh, cool.
And it was cool to see the interaction, right? So I was at a booth. I was at Cooper Capital salvage booth, and they do like when boats get damaged for insurance, they re-auction them off to like new
Oh,
bidders after like they get totaled.
interesting.
Um, so their booth isn't like eye catching. It's not like a product that you're like, oh, I gotta stop. So they'll have me come out and paint live. They'll give away one of my items. They've been super supportive of my work. So I get to the booth and I was like, hey, this time I'm gonna paint this Louis bag, and they're like, that's cool. So for like the first hour and a half, I painted the sailfish sail on the top of the bag, or on the box. I mean, and I'm painting the box. Like the box is bright orange. You can see it, and people are slowly walking by and they're like, oh, that's nice. What are you painting? Blah, blah, blah. I stopped painting the box. I pulled the purse out and I started painting the purse. And then people just started coming to the booth and standing there. And like we had a crowd around the booth for like a solid 2 hours. And it was like nobody said a word when I painted the box. But as soon as the purse came out, it was like every woman in the building stopped and their husband didn't have a choice. They were just like, all right, I guess we're going to stand here now. But it was really cool. It was a lot of cool interactions, and I met a lot of really awesome people through that. So,
Yeah. Dude, my girlfriend's sister works for a yacht insurance company in Fort Lauderdale. I
gosh.
just I just don't know which one. Um, but she goes to Fort Lauderdale Boat Show every year.
Dude,
But
it was
all I
the
know is
boat shows are crazy.
dude, I've heard those boat shows are sick. I need to
Like
go to one.
you'll get to a point, right? You're like, oh, I've got a home, I've got a car, I don't, I eat well, I got a little bit of coin in my pocket, I've got some savings, I invest a little bit, I do this, I do that, you're like, I'm not doing bad. You walk into that boat show, you get humbled really fast. You're like, damn, I'm poor. I'm really poor. Holy moly.
Dude, it's like I feel that way looking at I look at like Chittum's online. I'm like, that's a pretty nice looking boat. And then it's like I look at one on like Boat Trader. I'm like, poor as hell.
Yeah. So
But
no, it's cool though.
oh yeah, I just love looking at boats and stuff like that, and just kind of like because it's cool. Like when you go out to the Outer Banks here, and like out east in North Carolina, there are boat manufacturers as far as the eye can see, and just like going around to them and seeing what they got and like the whole like bay that they build them in and stuff like that is fun to see. But it's like, damn, that looks good, and then they're like, oh yeah, that's a $1.5 million Freeman.
Yeah. Dude, it's so wild because the boat show, it's like you get in the first part of the boat show and it's like there's skiffs there and you walk in the gate and you're like, oh, that's a really nice skiff, that's a nice boat. And then like you get a little deeper into the boat show and you're like, oh, there's some big bay boats. These are nice, And then you
Yeah.
get to the next part of the boat show and you're like, man, that's a big center console. You keep walking and the further you walk, the poorer you get. You're like, and then eventually you get to a wall, and that wall is not a wall, it's a yacht, and there's a helicopter pad, and there's a rope, and you can't cross the rope because you're not in that budget.
Oh,
But
man.
boat shows are humbling real quick.
Yeah, they're checking credit scores with a red velvet
I don't even I don't even know if it's a credit score. I think you got to do a proof of funds right there. It's
that'd be crazy as hell.
Yeah.
But
So
have you painted anything for like any celebrities or famous people?
no, and there's no, not really. And I kind of have a pet peeve about that. Um, I've always tried to like build up myself and my artwork organically, right?
Yeah.
And by organically, I mean just kind of doing my own thing, being true to me, and then kind of sticking to fishing and birds and stuff that
Yeah.
I'm passionate about and that I can grow in. And one of the things that pet peeves me is I see a lot of artists do it, and this is just a personal thing, no shade on anyone who does it, but the artist that intentfully paints a famous person in order to get that celebrity's attention in order to grow their name for their work. So they're like, okay, well, I'm going to paint Michael Jackson and I hope Michael Jackson sees it and buys it and then I'll get famous from that. And I've always despised that. Like
Yeah.
I've talked to a couple, like I've had a couple people reach out to me, like pretty big names, and they're like, hey, I'm thinking about getting some artwork done. And I'm like, cool, this is the price. Like, that's it. And if they don't agree to the price, I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
Like, you're just like everyone else. Like, I'm not about to paint something for you for free just because you're famous and I want clout. Like, I won't. So
Exactly.
pay the price and do what you do.
Exactly. It's like pay the price and just keep it moving. If you don't like it.
It's really like weird too, because especially in the social media world, I get a lot of messages from like influencers that are like, hey, I want to do a collab with you. And I'm like, what does that entail? And they're like, well, it was a guy from a TV show at one point. I forget what it was. And I had no clue who he was whatsoever. And he's like, oh, I was on so-and-so TV show. I do collaborations. I work with small businesses. And I was like, that's cool. He's like, so I'll just request $500 in product from you. And then I'll give you a shout out. I'm on TikTok. And I was like, end of conversation. I was like, no. I was like, I'm putting hours and time into something and you're going to shout me out. No.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
right? It's like you're gonna
Like
ask
that's a tough
me
one.
you're gonna ask me for product and money and then all you're gonna give me is a shout out? Like
Yeah,
no
and
way.
like if there's a legitimate trade, like, and I've done trades with captains before. Like I've had captains come to me and be like, "Hey, listen, will you trade a painting for a charter?" And I'm like, "Yeah,"
Oh yeah.
like because I know your time and effort that goes into that, but I don't see like a social media following
Yeah.
as a valuable trade for what I'm doing,
Right.
and there's a certain level of that that's like, hey, a little leeway, but like not trade for trade.
Right.
Um, that's a tough one.
Yeah, dude, like I think it's nuts, like no like I said, no shade to anyone that does it, but like I think influencers are getting ballsier and ballsier by the day.
Yeah,
Like ballsier and ballsier. Like that's I'm the farthest thing from an influencer. I'm probably the complete opposite. Like I couldn't influence somebody to buy something to save my life. Like I have one of those like codes and stuff like that, and it's just not in me to like push it and be like, hey, come buy this. This is the greatest thing. And
I
dude, but like
will.
it's nuts what they'll be doing. Like it, they'll ask people for like $1,000, a free boat, and they'll give them a shout out and all this shit. And I'm like, dude, that is wild. And some of the companies like
I
agree to it.
I think if you've done a really good job as an influencer, or as someone who specifies in that, in creating a really good, trustworthy, organic profile,
Right.
and you're good at selling a product and you're good at being a salesperson, I understand that, right? And
Yeah.
I've got a couple friends that are really good at it, that are in the influencing world, and I've talked to them about it, and they're like, "Well, I charge this much and this much for a post, and that's because I've built my following over the years. I'm in tune with my clients, and when I say I trust something, I can get those sales out there because my followers trust me and they know I communicate with them, and I'm not just trying to make a buck."
Yeah.
And I understand that. Like, there's a business aspect to it. But when it comes to working with a manufacturer, someone who creates a product mass produced, and someone who hand creates a product, that's completely two different realms. And
Oh
and
yeah.
like, and I've done a little bit of influencing. Like, I do
Yeah.
a little bit of work with Dakota Lithium. I've done a little bit of work with oh God, what's the other one? Now I'm losing it. Now I'm on the spot and I'm not saying what I'm supposed to say.
You're all good.
But in reality is, I'm not reaching out to them. I don't want to reach out to them.
Right.
If you reach out to me and we come up with an agreement, I think that's fine. But at no point do I want to reach out to someone and offer a trade unless I see that there's a value and there's a value in mine and we're kind of equal. But like, I don't reach out to brands. I think the only brand I have reached out to, and I guess since we're on the subject, I'll call it, but I have a paintbrush company that I work with. I'm actually one of their ambassadors this year.
That's
And I've
cool.
used their brushes for 8 years now, 9 years, almost exclusively. Like, I love them. It was my personal preference. And another brush company reached out to me and they were like, "Hey, do you want to try these out and, do a little shout out for us and introduce it?" And I did a little bit of research on those brushes and that product, and, through the chain, found them on Amazon and all these different coupon codes and all these other artists. And it just looked like they were creating this chain of like artists who are like, "These are my brushes." And you're like, "No, you got them for free. Like, you don't use the product and enjoy it. You got it for free and now you enjoy it." Like, and
Yeah.
that's a difference, right? So
Exactly.
at that point, I reached out to Princeton Brush and I was like, just gonna throw a shot in the dark. I don't usually reach out to people, but so and so brush company reached out to me and they want me to represent their product. I've used your product for the past 8 years. Do you guys have any programs or anything like that? And the lady's like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe you asked. This is amazing. Thank you so much for reaching out. I want to get you on our ambassador program." And like, from there, it just boom. So she set me up with
Yeah.
the whole program, and they've been super supportive since then. But that's like the only time I've reached out and been like, "Hey, I'm dedicated to your product already. How can I represent it instead of representing something I don't know and don't use and I'm not confident in?" So
Right. Dude, I
so
think
that's
those
where that's.
Dakota lithiums are sweet batteries, aren't they?
Yeah,
Super
they're
light.
nice.
super cool,
Yeah,
dude. I love those. I got a
especially on
lot
the
of
Gnu.
buddies with them. Oh, dude, on a
So
Gnu, dude,
yeah,
that's where those lithiums I think are like needed when you're trying to get like I don't really have a go fast boat anymore, but it's like that weight difference from like a
yeah, a go shallow boat is a whole different because you put
oh
two
yeah
Group 27s in the front of a Gnu, and I like for a long time I had just a single battery up there that was my cranking battery.
yeah
But the guy who had the boat for me had the connection going straight to the cranking battery. So like your trolling motor and your cranking battery were one. So like you had to choose like, do I want to make it home or do I want to fish for longer?
yeah yeah
So like when Dakota came to me and started asking, I did a little bit of work for them, like artwork and stuff like that, and it traded out really well. And they put the two batteries in the boat, and it was like, damn, I don't have to choose anymore. And I
yeah
don't use the trolling motor a lot. Like I use it at night if I do dock lights or something like that. But the weight difference when you're out there and like the longevity, I was like, thank you.
unbelievable. Dude, like
Yeah,
all my buddies that have them just swear by them,
yeah.
swear by them. But what are your hobbies outside of art and fishing?
No, that's it. I guess if I were to say a hobby outside of art and fishing is and the art and fishing kind of led to it, right? So I was
Yeah,
telling you about the 3D paintings.
yeah,
Um, the 3D paintings were something I really, really wanted to expand on, and that's like my fine art body work. I think, and we're going to be honest here. Eventually, this stuff's going to fizzle out. Like I'm not going to be able to paint bags forever. I think once the buzz is off and things like that, being an artist, I'm building my name now. And the thing I really, really want to be known for over time is my 3D body of work, and the depth I put into that. And I think that's my lifelong body of work versus, doing the bags. And maybe this lasts longer, who knows, whatever. But the 3D body of work, I was cutting them with a jigsaw, I was hand sanding them, I was doing all this stuff, and I ended up seeing an ad and for a CNC machine, and it's like just a home CNC machine, and it had all this stuff, and I started doing the research and going down this rabbit hole of all these different machines, and finally I found one out of Canada. It's called Onefinity, and it's a bulletproof home CNC machine, and I got in line as soon as they released it. I was one of the first ones to get this size machine that they had, and started cutting things on that. And originally it was just for the 3D paintings, but that led into doing coaster sets and rod racks and casting targets and all these different things. Like I learned I can cut on this machine,
yeah,
but the CNC machine allows me to create all my artwork, turn it into silhouettes, put it into the computer system, and cut these super tiny, tiny, tiny details that otherwise I'd never be able to cut by hand, right? And
yeah,
I'm cutting them out of big sheets. So it's 48 inches wide, it's 36 inches tall, and I'm able to do these big 3D paintings with multiple layers. And that's where that kind of like built into. So that hobby that we're talking about that isn't fishing or art is the CNC machine. And it's like learning to use it, learning to use the software, learning to build this machine, and it's its own thing.
yeah.
And I think it's funny because I talk to people all the time and they're like, oh yeah, do you watch this YouTube channel? And I'm like, no. And they're like, it's either a fishing channel or an art channel. And they're like, well, like, what do you watch on YouTube? And I'm like, I watch machining videos. Like, I fall asleep to machining videos. Like, I'll put them on at night and just watch people run lathes and like 5-axis CNC machines. I'll never have one, but like, I always just get mind blown on how these guys are so intricate and how detailed they like machine parts and crazy stuff. I mean, it's essentially like how they build fly reels.
Yeah.
Those are all from those big 5-axis machines and stuff like that. So
Yeah,
it's cool
dude.
to see.
That some of those like rod racks and stuff you do are pretty sweet too, man. Like I like how you put the fish ones in there. I
Yeah.
dude, I didn't know you CNC machined all those.
So it started out the rod rack started by hand as well. I cut templates out by hand, and then what I would do is just get a router bit that had like the ball bearing on it,
Yeah.
and I would take the router and just cut the fish out. And like I was doing one at a time. I was cutting like 6 or 7 sets at a time. So I'd be out in the garage just sweating to death, running the router around it, trying to get plywood. The only thing the CNC machine mainly helped with was getting things the same and accurate and cut cleanly the first time, and also being able to nest. So like when I was cutting the rod racks and stuff before, I'd cut one out and then I'd try to move it up and cut another piece out, and there was a lot of waste. There was a lot of extra pieces of wood that were like, after I was finished, that were, I couldn't nest everything really close together. With the CNC machine, I can throw a sheet in and I can fit everything super close to each other and flip it different directions to where I waste almost nothing now. And none of the parts break anymore. Like, I don't know how many times I've like tried to hand cut permit out of like the thin plywood for the 3D pieces.
Yeah.
And it's like the fin just rips off and you're like, okay, gotta start over. I wasted that,
Damn.
So it's given me the ability to do that and like finer details. So now I'm cutting, oysters and mangrove pods and leaves, and like I can, instead of cutting like 5 leaves one time and like, trying to get them right and then sanding them down, I can be like, okay, I need 50 leaves. Cut them all at the same time. It just does it, and it's cool.
That's pretty sweet. Yeah, I didn't know you could just like kind of type something in, walk away, and it'll just do it all. That's kind of sick.
There's a little more to it, but yeah. I've broken a lot of bits. Here's the thing with the CNC machine is everyone's like, oh, you push a button and you walk away. Well, here's the thing. It only does what you tell it to do. And if you tell it to do something wrong, it doesn't have a brain to figure out what's right and wrong. So if for some reason you type in your file, I need this to be 0.05 inches deep, and you forget to put a point, it'll run that bit right through the table and just, and it doesn't stop. It doesn't know to stop. It just runs it through, and it'll light fires. It'll rip things apart. It'll destroy wood. It'll destroy bits. It just does what you tell it to do, even if it's wrong.
Sounds like me in high school.
Yeah. It just does what it's told. So, but it's been a learning curve, and the cool thing is I bought it to do the 3D pieces and create all these little intricacies and build these layers, right? So eventually I want to be able to put over 100 pieces into a 3D painting. My current not biggest, but my current most pieces piece is right around 60, 61 pieces. My biggest piece, I think, is 8 feet wide by 4 feet tall, but that was only like 6 or 7 layers versus the 60 layers, right? And that's just all the oysters and the stuff, and the pilings. I did a mahi one that was 4 foot by 3 foot, and I think that had just over 40 something piece. It had 3 mahi in it, a bunch of flying fish. It had the sargassum grass. It had a triple tail, and everything pops off the canvas in different layers. And it's really cool because all the flying fish had like extra wings that pop off of them. So I did that, and I saw that other people that had the CNC machine that I have, they were doing coasters. And they're like, coasters are a great way to like cut and sell, and you can put names in them and stuff like that. And of course, I'm like, I don't want to put names in them. I want to put fish in them. So the first few coasters I cut, I was trying to figure out how to cut a coaster and then put a redfish tail inside. And I couldn't get it to work. It's just too much detail to pack into a 3-inch round circle and it looked nice, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, wait. I was like, what if I put the redfish tail on the outside of the coaster, and like it's a redfish tail, so here it is.
Oh, it's awesome.
So it's a redfish tail, but it's a coaster. So when you lay it on the table, it does its thing. And I cut them out of teak, I cut them out of pine, I coat them. I did a bunch of hand painted sets for a while, and I did really good with it. Like I cut hundreds of sets of coasters, like month after month after month, and I did really well with them. It supported me for a while. But the cool thing is I cut the tails, and after I cut the first set, I painted it, and I called my mom, and I'm like, hey, look, I was like, I cut like 15 sets of these, and I was like, they sold out over the weekend, right? And I'm like, look, and she's like, that's cool, what is it? And I'm like, it's a redfish tail, like that's what they're known for, like they put the tail up in the air, and she's like, where's the rest of the fish? And like instantly I was like, click. I was like, I ran out there, I started making new files in the computer, and I started doing like, the entire fish was a coaster set, and then I'd cut it in 4 pieces. So it was like a 4-piece fish puzzle, but also a coaster set. So it's a really cool conversation piece on a table.
Yeah.
Those are down in the archives if you ever scroll down deep. But I did that for a while. It was fun.
Dude, it'd be cool to do like, how you have like beer flights At like breweries and stuff like that.
Yep.
Dude, like Tampa Bay Brewing Company, they got all those reef donkey things. Might as well
I
do beer
asked.
flight once.
I had a local brewery here, and I used to work with Ancient City Brewing downtown St. Augustine, and I'd go paint live at the like right in the heart of downtown St. Augustine. So I'd go paint live, and I asked the bar manager one day. I was like, "Hey, can I get my coasters in here?" And she's like, "I would normally say yes, and I would love to have your coasters on my bar, but she's like, they won't make it." She's like, they'll be in here one night and people will steal them. She's like, we lose beer glasses constantly. I don't want people taking your coasters. So I was like, I get it.
Yeah.
But
I gotta say, if I do see a cool beer glass, that thing's going home with me.
this is why men don't carry purses, because we'd be
Yeah, dude.
taking shit from
I
everywhere.
remember I remember we were in an Irish pub one night, and I'm a big Guinness guy. And I saw like a Guinness glass that I had, and I was like, this glass is sweet. I want to go home. I wanted to come home with us. And I'd had a few, and Maddie. I'm like, Maddie. That's my girlfriend's name. I'm like, Maddie. It's like, stick this in your purse. She's like, what do you mean? I was like, we're taking that glass home. She's like, no, put that glass on the table. I'm like, no, put it in your purse. I was like, they got a million of those back there. And she pretended like she was, put it right back down. I was like, where's that glass you got? She's like, I put it back on the table, you idiot.
Listen, I never realized it. And I never realized it growing up why we had Outback Steakhouse steak knives at our house. And then as I grew up, I realized why. I'm like, oh, my parents would. Like, damn.
Dude,
Thanks, guys.
those Outback steak knives are, dude, those are some fantastic steak knives.
Dude, you automatically know. Like, every 90s kid had those in their kitchen.
Oh yeah, dude, those Outback steak knives are awesome. Dude, like
Yeah.
you just look at them, you're like that's a good steak knife.
They have to bring you a new knife every time they bring out bread because they're like, what happened to the one you had on the table? What one?
I didn't have one.
So it is. Somebody took it.
Yeah, dude, I actually might need 3 extra things of silverware if you don't mind. So, well, why is there
Yeah.
one of you here? But if you could
It's
spend
sad.
a whole day doing anything other than fishing or doing art, what would you do?
Man, I don't know, because this is damn near what I do every day.
That's
I guess if people go, you know what? If you had to live the rest of your life doing something, what would it be? It's what I'm doing right now. Like,
yeah,
I worked healthcare for 12 years and I hated it. And if somebody asked me the exact same question you just asked me when I was in healthcare, I'd be like, I'd be at home painting and fishing every day. And
yeah,
there's nothing else in the world I'd rather do. I wake
yeah,
up every day, and I left healthcare because I booked up with my portrait work, and it was 2.5, maybe 3 years before my daughter went to school. And I realized that like I could make enough money doing my artwork that would equal out to what I was doing at the hospital. Because I wasn't getting paid crap at the hospital, and I wasn't about to go back to nursing school. I didn't want to. I'd already learned that I hated the job. I didn't want to be there. I hated the corporate feel. I hated the obligation to be somewhere and answer to someone and wait for the crumbs.
yeah,
Um, so I booked up a lot one year, and my wife was doing pretty well at the time, and she's like, hey, listen, if it sucks and you hate it, she's like, get out of it, do your artwork, and let's build that business. And in the beginning, it was enough. Like, it was enough to get us through. And I think the good thing is the hospital wasn't paying me great. Like, it was enough to get by, but it was easily achievable to make that amount of money with my artwork, because the bar was set so low.
yeah,
I think if I was working, an $80,000-$90,000 a year job, and then to leave that for artwork would have been impossible. And I don't think I would have ever been a full-time artist.
yeah,
But it set the bar low, and it gave me an opportunity to get out of healthcare at a good point, and I was making enough off art to do it. And it gave me the coolest opportunity ever. Was my daughter was like 2.5 years old. She had 3 years before she went to kindergarten, and I spent those 3 years here at home with her. every day. Like, she helped me sand things, she helped me paint things, she helped me pack customer orders. I would print customer orders off the printer and line them up. When I was doing my coaster sets, I was selling 30, 40 sets at a time. So we'd pull out everything, I'd lay them all on the floor, and she'd separate them to the addresses and what were local pickup. She'd help me box things. And it's really hard as a parent to say there was anything better to be paid. Like, you couldn't have given me enough money at a corporate job to replace that experience that I had, you know, and to be with her during the time. So, like, the money wasn't there, but, like, being with my daughter for those 3 years was absolutely, like, I'll never regret it, you know.
Dude,
So that was cool. That was the biggest payment in all of that.
Oh yeah, that feeling of being at a job, it just
so yeah, there's nothing I'd rather do.
Yeah. Dude, that feeling of being at a job that you just absolutely hate, that's a shitty feeling, man.
Yep. And I left high school and I was like, cool, you know, like, I'm going to go into nursing and then, you know, I can do something bigger than that. And I really had this whole plan that I was going to have a forever job in healthcare and I was going to be okay with it. And as soon as I hit the ground running, I hated it and I knew it. And once I experienced the art and that I could sell my art and I could make people happy, I think the only thing I'll double back and say is, especially when I was doing my portrait work, is the only thing I'm not experiencing with these pieces that I wish I could is getting one as a gift, because it blows my mind. And I'll ask clients once in a while, if I get a good client, I'm like, hey, I'm giving this as a gift to someone. Well, can you get a video of them opening it? I just want to see their reaction. That's it. And it's like, that's the only thing I'm missing, is receiving one of these items for myself and seeing it for the first time. Other than that, I'm where I want to be.
Yeah.
So,
dude, that's awesome. But
yeah.
This is how I end all of my episodes. So 5 songs. I have a running playlist on Spotify. This is one where people are like, dude, this is the one question that kept me up at night. But what are your 5 songs for the Trout Tunes playlist? And then I'll give you mine.
Do you want? All right, I'll give you. This is going to be an absolute roller coaster of emotions right here.
Dude, that's perfect. Right? That's perfect.
I forget the name of the song, but it's by Green Day, and it's now I can't think of the song, but it's from Green Day, and it's like, in the end, it's all right, you know.
Dude, in the end, dang.
Oh my gosh, this is gonna be embarrassing. I can't even remember the song I like.
I was a big Green Day.
Time of Your Life. I hope you had the time of your life.
That song is fantastic.
So Green Day. All right, so there's one. I listened to a lot of Neil Young. I listened to a lot of James Taylor. My dad was really like a big late 70s or late 60s, early 70s singer-songwriter music. So I love a lot of James Taylor, Neil Young. Old Man by Neil Young, one of my personal favorites. So love that song. And I dance around a lot with my music preferences. 3, this is like before I go either snook or tarpon fishing. This is my absolute hype song. If I'm in the truck alone and I'm getting ready to go fish somewhere and I'm getting ready to have a good time and I'm trying to hype myself up, Zombie from Tool. And that is like, I can turn that all the way up in the truck and just get in the mindset of fishing. 3, 4, now we're narrowing down. This is a tough one here. Listen to a lot. If I'm painting and I'm trying not to think and I'm trying to just listen to stuff, is a lot of oh god, now I'm drawing a blank on this guy, Jason Mraz. Yes. And then the other guy that does a lot of Jason Mraz, there's another one, Jack Johnson.
Yeah.
Those 2 I listen a lot of. And for Jack Johnson is the Waiting,
Jack Johnson.
Yeah. And then 5 is, oh man. The problem is I listen to like, it just depends on the day.
Yeah.
Like, it really depends on, okay, the last one, and this one's slightly going to be cliche, but this has been a really, really good feel good song lately, and it is the Forrest Frank song, "You're Always Better."
You're
My daughter and I have been absolutely jamming out to that recently, and it has been total.
I got
So
you.
yeah, it's a super like roller coaster of emotions type of songs, but like that's kind of those are some of my favorites I could put together.
I
So
got you. Force
it's
Frank.
definitely not a list of songs you would listen to in line together. It'd be the
Got
worst radio station on the planet.
you. Dude, I saw
Terrible.
James Taylor last year. My grandmother
God,
loved James Taylor. I kind of like took on that love for that music too. Let's see what
if
I
you get a chance, hop on YouTube. And years ago, BBC did like these super small sessions with Neil. I think they did it with Neil Young, and I think they did it with James Taylor as well. But there's Neil Young sings "Old Man" live, and it's like just a room. Everyone's sitting on the floor, and he's up on stage, just the harmonica and the guitar. And it's like listening to him play that live, like, and I think it was like in the '70s. He was really young when he did it. That was really cool. Look that one up on
Oh,
YouTube
I
because
bet.
watching that video is like, wow, like that was a personal concert.
Yeah, dude, that's unbelievable. Um,
Yeah.
let's see what we got. I think I have a super. Hold on, I had to turn off the mix part on
I just ruined your entire.
Nah, dude. There's some I've had some on here where I'm like, dude, this like you'll probably hear a couple of these and be like, dude, this is an insane playlist. I'll send you the
It's an
whole thing,
emotional
dude.
word.
I had a few weeks where I threw Sabrina Carpenter in there. I
Listen, it just depends on the mood. You know, it's
I
like, how am I
love
feeling right now?
I love Sabrina Carpenter. But mine I had Peach Fuzz by Camp,
Okay.
Ophelia by the band, Bob O'Reilly. This one's wild because it's a bluegrass version of Bob O'Reilly.
Okay.
And then Colorado Bluebird Sky by the String Cheese Incident. And then let's see what else I had. My Home's in Alabama by Alabama. I'm not even from Alabama. I just think that song's awesome.
You don't have to be.
Yeah, dude, that's a great song. And then Eldora by Chase Rice.
There you go.
Yeah, those are all mine, man. But do you have any last thanks or plugs you want to give in here, man?
Um, man, just honestly, I've got a super supportive group of people around me, and you don't take a second to think about it until, you know, things get tough, right? So, like, we're going through some family stuff right now that's pretty tough. So, just a huge shout out to I got a couple really good friends that I hang out with consistently. My partner's in the shop, and then I got a couple local guys I hang out with. Um, just the amount of support from those guys and the understanding and what we're going through and helping with that. So just a shout out to everyone who knows what's going on at home. A shout out to everyone who's been here supportive and supporting my work, you know, because it's definitely been a balance lately.
I got you. Heck yeah, man. But that's all I
It
got for you,
just it
man.
means the world.
My bad.
Awesome.
Yeah, dude. That's all I got for you. That was Mr. Travis Luther. Big thank you to him for coming on this evening and being gracious enough to spend some time with me and just answer some questions and tell me about his fishing journey and everything that he does and do like that was a really fun episode. Those are some really cool ones where it's like just it feels more like a conversation. But again, big thank you to him. Um, and I just went out to feed the Vibe Curator, and I can confirm our United States Ryder Cup team is ending the day down 5.5 to 2.5. Still a lot of golf to play. Still a lot of golf today. Tomorrow, go out, burn the hats, and put something together. Team USA just did not look like Team USA today, which kind of stinks, but it is what it is. But before we end, um, you know what time it is. The college football picks and predictions presented by Afueta Coffee. We've got some good games on tomorrow. Really good games. This is just a hell of a weekend for sports in general. You got you got end of baseball season, closing in on the postseason. You got really good college football tomorrow and the Ryder Cup. It's like I hope everybody has YouTube TV because there's gonna be Octabox on the TV and free hell. I'd put 10 boxes on my TV if I were at my own house. But we're going to hang out with my parents and watch some stuff with them. Got a big game tomorrow. College football wise, two big games tomorrow, college football wise. So let's go get into these. Our first game is going to be the Vibe Curator, shaking it out a little bit over there. First game is our college game day game. Oregon Penn State. Big matchup. I'm pretty sure it's a top 10 matchup. Yep. Oregon, number 6. Penn State, number 3. Honestly, that game, that'd be a game I'd take the over in. Dude, I mean, money line wise, that is such a risk to take either of those teams' money line. I'd take a spread at let me see, got to go to my sportsbook app. The spread of that game, if depending on what the spread of that game is, it'd be I don't know, man. Like, let's see. I gotta see the spread. Um, just gotta see the spread. You know what it is. I might advise an alternate spread. Let's see. Where is that game? I think it's a that's a prime time game, ain't it? Let's see. Uh, all right, Oregon Penn State, dude. That spread Oregon plus 3.5 is crazy. It at minus 112, that's nuts. Let's see what the alternate spread is. Alternate spread, yeah, dude. Go Oregon plus 4.5 might be a little better. 6.5, I don't know. 6.5, 6.5 looks good. And then you got an alternate over a 52.5, which I think that hits easily. So go get you an alternate spread or an alternate over at 52.5. I think that's definitely going to hit. And then your alternate spread at Oregon plus 6.5. I like that. Oregon plus 6.5 or the alternate over at 52.5. That's what I'd be doing. Our other big game of the day, we got two really big SEC matchups. One of them, my little brother will actually be at that game in Oxford, Mississippi. LSU, Ole Miss. You got to over at plus 1.5 for LSU, minus 108. The over at 57.5. I like that. What I like even more is LSU plus 100 money line. You got a number 13 versus a number 4. I mean, rankings don't mean shit, but LSU's been hot. Their receiving core is good. I'm not saying just take the over because Lane Kiffin said to, because big news, Lane Kiffin's daughter dating Whit Weeks, LSU middle linebacker. But I like LSU plus 100, man. I really do. I really like LSU plus 100 money line. I don't know how LSU isn't favored in this game. I really don't. LSU's been hot. LSU has been hot. If you want to play it safe, take the over. If you want to get a little risky, maximize your money. LSU plus 100 is what I'd be doing. Actually, I'm about to. Nah. Well, we're just gonna ride it together. That first game, Penn State. Um, we're gonna ride that one out together too. Oregon, Penn State. I'm gonna take the spread on that one. I'm gonna take the spread plus alternate spread. I mean, alternate plus 6.5. Yeah, take it. Oregon plus 6.5. The other one, the other big SEC matchup that I have superstitions and I have big superstitions. I will not be, it's Georgia Bama. I will not be sharing my opinion on that game, but you know which way I'm going there. I just don't want to hear it from my father that I am a jinx. Uh just don't want to hear it this time. All fun and games, though. All fun and games. But you know where I stand in that game. You know where I stand. Um, what I will be doing is taking an alternate spread. An alternate spread. For sure, an alternate spread. I don't really like the good guys at plus 3.5 or -3. Don't really like that plus -3. We're gonna take the over. Life's too short to bet the under, kid. Life's way too short to bet the under. And you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna give a little nasty Nate anytime score. Let's see what other one we got. There are some really good games tomorrow. There really are. And then you got BC Cal tomorrow, and then tonight's games are really good. We might as well talk about tonight's games too. You got BC transfer. You got that BC transfer playing at Florida State tonight. Castellanos. I'm gonna take Florida State money line. A little profit boost on that, 50%. It's a Friday college boost. Nah, fuck that. I not only bet Friday night. Free 3. All right. So that's gonna be what we're gonna do. We're just gonna do that. Let's see. We're gonna maximize it. Nah. Screw it. All right. So, like I said, I got good guys, bad guys. I took the good guys. I took the over in the good guys versus bad guys game, and I took Nasty Nate to be an anytime scorer, and then I took LSU money line, Oregon plus 6.5, Florida State money line against Virginia. Lock it in. Will we ride together? We ride together starting this evening. The Florida State UVA game. On another book, I took Castellanos over every way to Sunday. So that's all I got for us this evening. About to go up here and edit this and push it out. Big thanks to Travis Luther for coming on, and huge shout out to Riversmith Outfitters. Once again, use code Wrangler10 to save 10% at checkout. And if you feel so inclined to, leave us a review at Spotify, Apple, subscribe to the YouTube channel, anything like that. That would be greatly appreciated and will not go unnoticed. Thank you all very much. And I will see you guys Tuesday. We got a couple big episodes coming up, and I cannot wait. So I will see you guys next week. Bye bye.